Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, I have shown you how to create this one, that is generate pass form, and how to backend code for this. So if you haven't watched that video, then just go to description. There I put the link from a previous video. In this video, we are going to see how to design and backend code for this one, that is validate pass. So if I click on this, nothing happens. So let's start the coding for this one. So let me close this application. Yes. And let me close all of these. Close all tabs. After this, go to Solution Explorer, click on this one, and here I'm going to generate one new form. So for that, right click on this, click on Add and select New Form. And here I'm going to select one form, that is Validate Pass. I'm going to give it a name, Validate Pass, and hit Enter. And this will add a new form into your project. After this, what we have to do is we have to set a size, and before we set a size, I want to remove the form border style. So for that, right click on this and go to properties and just pin this up, and let me just remove the Solution Explorer auto hide, and you will find it over here. And in this one, properties, first I'm going to remove the form border style, this one. Search for form border style in your properties and click on this, and you will have to select none over here. After this, save it. After this, you have to change the color for this one. So click on this back color and change this one to custom and select white. Now I'm going to change the size for this one. So click on this and size, let me just change this one to 1044,801 and hit enter. Now you can see this, now the size is changed. You must have observed that in the quick overview video that validate pass and generate pass is almost similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move back over here to the generate pass, and from here what I'm going to do is just select all and copy these all designs and move back over here and paste it over here. After this, let me remove some of the items. So first I'm going to remove these two. Let me just delete these. After this, we don't need this one, that is generate button, so I'm going to delete this one too. After this, I don't need these two, let me just delete it, and we need to move these all a little bit upside like this one, and what we have to do is we have to move all of these items from top to little bit lower like this one. After this, we need to change the name, level name for this one. So this is validate pass. Hit enter. And if you want to put this in the middle, then you can put it according to your requirement. After this, what we have to do is we have to change the color for this one. So I'm going to change the color a little bit. So I'm going to click on this one and select like this and save it. After this, I'm going to change the label for this one. So this is valid, as I have shown you in the quick overview. So I'm going to design and code accordingly. So valid, hit enter, and just move this one over here, and this one, just change this one to expired. Hit enter like this. After this, let me just move this one in the proper position, just save it. And after this, what I want is whenever first time this form loads, then we need to fill the data into this one, that is the username and the pass associated to that username. So in this one, we don't need to fill all the users over here. Here we are going to show only those users who have some sort of pass, right? Suppose user A have not been assigned any pass, or for user A we haven't generated any pass, then user A will not be visible over here. If we have user B and user V, for user V we have generated one pass, then user B needs to be visible over here. Okay, so before we code for that one, first thing what we have to do is we have to connect this form with the dashboard. Okay, and before we connect it, first thing what we have to do is we have to set the startup position for this form. So click on this empty space and move back over here to the start position and click on this one and select the center of the screen. Save it. After this, move back to the dashboard so that we can connect this form with the dashboard. So move back over, double click on this one and just double click on this to generate a click event for this. And here first thing I'm going to check is that my form is already opened or not. So application dot open forms dot of type. Inside this one we have to pass the generator. Inside this one we have to pass the form type. Okay, so inside this one we have visitors pass, not this one, visitor. Okay, validate pass, and here we're going to check for count, and count is equal to 1. If this is true, it means that form is already open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that form in the front. Open forms dot of type and validate pass dot first and dot bring to front, like this one. If this is not the case, it means that form is not opened. In that case, I'm going to open a form. So validate pass is equal to new validate pass, like this one, and validate pass dot show. Now let's start this and let's see if this is working fine or not. So I've started my application, admin and pass, login over here and click on this one, and here you can see this. Now the validate pass is in our screen. But here you can observe that this is in the left side we have very less space, on the right side we have a lot of space, so we can adjust it accordingly. And we haven't coded for this one, so these will not work. So let me close this and let's put everything in the place. So let me just make this one a little bit smaller, like this. Now you can see this. Now this is in place. After this, now our design is ready and also connected with the dashboard. So next thing what you have to do is we have to start coding for this one. So first thing what I want is whenever this form loads, it needs to be loaded with the data inside this data grid view. So click on this and let's see the name for this one. So data grid view visitors. So double click on this empty space to generate a load event for this one. Inside this load event, we are going to code for it. And before we code for it, we also need to code for this one, that is close button, right? So if I double click on this and if I code, what I want is whenever I click on this button, then I simply want to close this. So this dot close. After this, we have to code for this one, that is validate pass. So over here, before we write anything over here, first we have to create an object for database operation, like this one, is equal to new database operation, and we need one variable, that is string query. After this, we need one data set variable. So why I always create a variable over here, so that we can use same variable every time. We don't need to create this string variable again and again on data set variable again and again. Okay. So just move back over here into this one, that is validate pass load. And here, first thing I'm going to write the query. So query is equal to, and here I'm going to write the select v dot star and also p dot pass id, p dot valid from, comma p dot valid to from visitors. As v inner join, it means that whatever the value or the data being matched in both the tables will be shown or returned. Pass as p on v dot visitors underscore pk is equal to p dot visitors underscore fk, and there is no where condition because I need all of the matching records, right? So ds is equal to database operation dot get data, and we will going to pass a query inside this one, and whatever the data is being returned from this query, we need to simply show that data into that data grid view. So data grid view visitor dot data source is equal to ds dot tables, and set this one we have to set the 0th table. Okay, and we have to do one more thing. Let me just move back over here. We have to also set the valid and expired color over here so that we can identify it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set like this: picture box 1 dot back color is equal to color dot light green, After this, we have picture box 3 dot, because we have deleted the picture box 2. So whatever the name is in your project, you can use it. So this is picture box 3. So if I click on this, and you can see this picture box 3. Let me just change this one to 2 and hit enter. And if I move back over here, you can see this, the name over here is also changed. So picture box 2 color dot Indian red. This is for expired pass. So let me start my project and let's see if this one is working fine or not, if it's loading the data or not. So let me just move back over, click on this, and here you can see this. Now the data is being loaded and also the color is being set over here, and this button is also working fine. Okay, so let me just explain this query quickly. So let me close this and let me open my database SQL, and it may take some time. Okay, so this one is started, and let me just open this one, and let me select my database, that is GatePass. So if I move back over here to our project and let me copy this query and move back over here and paste it, and if I select it and execute it, and here you can see this, now the data is being visible over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the query like select start from visitors like this, and copy it and paste it once again, and we have passed, right? So copy and paste over here. So execute this first, and here you can see this, we have the visitors list, right? So whatever we are selecting all the details from the visitors, and whatever this visitor PK is matching from this pass. So if I run this, here you can see this 266 for the user 6, for the visitor 6 we have generated 2 pass, so this will be visible 2 times, and for the visitor 2 we have generated 1 pass, so it will be visible 1 time. So if I execute it, and you will see the same. So this is 266. It means that for visitor 2, and whatever the visitor pass ID is over here, valid expired date and everything is visible over here. So this is how this query is being performed. So we have put a inner join in these 2 tables, so whatever the matching records is over there will be visible. So if you put the left join, it means that all the data from this visitors and the matching records from this pass will be returned. So if I type left join over here, and if I select this and execute it, here you can see this, all the data from the visitors table is visible, but from the pass table we don't have any data, so that's why we got null over here. So you can use a join as per your business requirement, right? So I'm using inner join as this is my requirement, right? So I want the data in this format. If you use full outer join, then it will return both data from all the data from both the tables. So use it as per your requirement. So let's move back to our project. So move back over here, and this one is working fine. Next thing what we have to do is, whenever we select, let me just close this and close this one. Whenever I select any row inside this one, then I want to set the image and all the data into this one, and also the color for this panel. So let's start doing it. So before we do that, what we have to do is we have to generate one method that will use to check the validity of the date. So public static bool is date after today or today, and it will be string type, string input, and inside this one we have to simply type date time p date like this, and if not date time dot try parse exact. Inside this one we have to pass the input like this, and here we will pass the format. So dd hyphen mm hyphen yyyy hh colon mm colon ss, and after this we have to pass the culture info dot info dot invariant culture, like this. And if I hover over this one, it shows potential fixes, use system globalization, and now this for that one is resolved. After this, we have to pass date time styles dot none, and after this we have to pass out, and we have to pass finally the p date. If this is the case, it means that any exception happens while parsing, then we have to simply return false, else we will return true. Return, and we have to compare it with the date time today. So date time dot today, and we have to check it if it's less than or equal to p date, and here we are going to check it. Now what we have to do is we have to code inside this one for the click event for this. Right, so if I click on this and go to the events, here we have the cell click. Just double click on this and this will generate a cell click event, and whatever the code inside this one I'm going to put into the try and catch block. So try and catch block, and here we have exception ex, and if anything goes wrong, simply I'm going to write it to the console dot write line, and here we are going to write the exception. So here what we have to do is we have to take two variables. So one is string, and we have to, and the name for this one is path, and after that we have int64, that is visitor pk, like this one. After this, in the path, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it from the utility dot get image store path, and so this one we have to pass the data grid view. We have to extract the path from the data grid view, right? So let me just pass null for now, and if I start my project and let's see where we get that visitor ID, because visitor ID is the image name, right? So admin and pass in my system. So if I log in and if I click over here and if I hover over this, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is the sixth column. We have this visitor ID, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. At 6th, we have this visitor ID. So with the visitor ID name, we have put the images, right? So let me close this and let me just extract that from the data grid view. So from here, how to extract it? So data grid view visitor dot rows, inside this one we have to pass the e dot row index, and from which cell. So our cell is 6 as we have counted for now, dot value dot to string. And now we have extracted the value from that particular column, from that particular row, and we have passed into this one, and we have written the code into this one in the previous video. So make sure you have watched the previous videos, right? So in this one, we are actually fetching the image. We are actually generating the path where we have put the images, right? So complete absolute path is over here. After this, what we have to do is we are going to load image in a while, but before that, we have to extract other stuff and put into the labels and into the IDs. Okay, so for that, visitor pk is equal to int64 dot parse, and here we have to extract it from data grid view visitor dot rows, and so this one we have to pass e dot row index dot cells, and so this one we have to type 0 dot value dot to string. So at 0th index, we have the primary key for that visitor. So that's why we have used a 0 over here. And this e.row index, it will extract that particular row on which you have clicked. Okay. After this, we have to set the label pass ID. So label pass ID dot text is equal to data grid view dot visitors dot rows. Inside this one, e dot row index dot cells, and inside this one we have the 7th index, 7th column dot value dot to string. After this, we have a label name. So label name dot text is equal to data grid view visitors dot rows Inside this one we have to pass e dot row index dot cells. Inside this one we have to pass a cell, that is 1 dot value dot tool string. As we have counted the column, so you also have to count the columns. Okay, at which column what data is being visible over there, you can set it according to your requirement. So if you have added any extra columns in your table, in that case you have to count the number of columns so that you can fetch that particular data. Otherwise you will get wrong data in wrong label. Okay, after this we have label contact dot text is equal to data grid view dot visitors rows. Inside this one we have to pass e dot row index dot cells. Inside this one we have to pass 2 dot value and convert this one to string. So as we are setting into the labels, so it doesn't matter what you are if you are inserting integer over there or in the string. Okay, so label dot gender dot text, after inside this one data grid view visitors dot rows dot, we just move back away, e dot row index, and inside this one from the cells 3 dot value dot to string, like this one. After this we have label valid from and valid to, so we are also going to set that. So let me just increase the font a little bit and let me just minimize this property section. So click on this one. And after this we have label valid from dot text is equal to data grid view visitors dot rows. Inside this one we have to pass e dot row index dot cells. Inside this one 8 dot value dot to string, label valid to dot text is equal to data grid view visitors dot rows. So this one e dot row index dot cells. Inside this one we have to pass 9 dot value dot to string. After this we have to check that we need to set the color of the panel. Okay, so let me just run the project once, and after that we will set the color. So let me start this and set this one admin. Okay, so we need to put admin over here and pass now login. And if I click on this and let's click on this one, and here you can see this every data is being fetched over here and being set over here. So next thing what we have to do is we have to set the color into this panel. So let me do that. So let me close this, let me close this one, and if I move back over here, if I click on this and go to properties, we will see the name for this panel is panel. So we are going to set the color into that. So for that what we have to do is we have to check that if is date after today date, and inside this one we have to pass the date. So data grid view visitor dot rows, inside this one we have to pass e dot row index dot cells. Inside this one you have to pass a cell, that is 9 dot value dot convert this one to string. If this is the case, then what I want is panel 1 dot back color is equal to color dot light green. And if this is not the case, in the else condition, what I want is I want to change the color to red. So panel 1 dot back color is equal to color dot Indian red, like this. Now let's start our project and let's see if this one is working fine or not. So let me type admin and pass over here. Click on this one, that is validate pass. So if I click on this, and here you can see that this is showing green. So let's check the date. So it's 24/1/2023 to valid to 25/1/2023. So today is 25, that's why it's valid. And this one is 23/24, so this is invalid. So if I click on this, and you can see this is in red color because 24 has already passed. And this one is also valid. So if I click on this, and you can see this, the color is changed. So here, whatever the color is this, and this is indicating that green is valid and this rate has expired. So you can easily validate it. But one more stuff is that the image is not being fetched over here and not being set over here. So let me just close this and let's do that. So if I move back over here to this one, we will check that if picture box picture box profile dot image is not equal to null. It means that suppose you have already clicked on one row, and for that already the image is set into that picture box. Then first we have to remove that picture box, and then we can set the new image. To remove the picture box image from the picture box, so picture box profile dot image dot dispose, and after this we have to set picture box profile dot image is equal to null, like this one. If this is not the case, after this what we have to do is we have to set the image into the picture box. So picture box profile dot size mode is equal to picture box size mode dot stretched image, like this one. And after this, picture box profile dot image is equal to image dot from path, and we have already extracted the path, so I'm going to pass the path into this one. Now save it. Now start our application, and let's check if the image is being set or not. So admin and pass, and now login. If I click on this, and if I click on this one, for the SAM we don't have any image. If I click on this, you can see this, now the image is being visible. If I click on this, the image is being visible. So for the user 6 we have same password, same user, so that's why the same image is being shown over here. So if you have user with different images or different user we have, then the different images will be visible over here, not an issue. So this one is working fine. So if I click on this, the image is gone. It means that no image is set. And here you can see this, the image is also changing. So next thing what we have to do is, inside this one, whenever I type, nothing happens. So we have to actually filter the data corresponding to that. So let's design for that. So let me just close this and close my application. And if I move back over here, click on this, go to properties. And for this one, the name is txt search. Click on this one. And here text change event. So double click on this, and this will generate a txt search text change event. And here I'm going to write the query. So query is equal to select v dot star comma p dot pass id comma p dot valid from comma p dot valid to from visitors as v, inner join pass as p on v dot visitor underscore pk is equal to p dot visitors underscore fk, where p dot pass id like single quotes, double quotes, plus double quotes and single quotes, like this one. And let me change the line over here like this one so that you can see everything clearly. So here txt search dot text, like this one, and after this we have to put the % over here. So the pass id, whatever the pass id you will put, it will validate for the same. After this I also want to validate for the visitor id. So v dot visitor id like single quotes, double quotes, plus double quotes, single quotes. Inside this one we have to pass the % over here, txt search dot text, and after this we have or v dot v name like single quotes, double quotes, plus double quotes and single quotes, then txt search dot text, and here we have to put the %. So we are going to validate whatever the input you are going to put into the text field. It will check into that pass id if that text is being matched with the pass id or with the visitor id or with the vname. If it matches with any of these three, then all the records will be returned. After this, what we have to do is we have to simply fire this query into the database. So database operation dot get data, you have to pass the query inside this one, and this is going to return a data set object with pre-filled data. So I'm going to keep this data into this data set variable. So we have already created a data set variable on the top, so I'm going to reuse it. Okay, after this we have to put all the data into the data grid view, not this one, data grid view visitors dot data source is equal to ds dot tables. Inside this one we have to pass the 0 syntax. Now save it and now start our application, and let's see if this one is working fine or not. So admin and pass, now login. And if I click on this and if I type yes over here, you can see this, the V name starting with yes is returned. If I delete it and if I type V, so V is in everything. Like you can see this in the SAM, we have V, in the visitor, we have VIS. So if I type VIS, you can see this, these two records are being returned. We have put the check on the visitor's name. After this, we have put the check on visitor ID, right? So this one is the visitor ID. So if I'm going to copy these, okay, let me just copy this and paste it over here. So here you can see this, these two record will be returned because these two are same. For the same user, we have generated two visitor ID. So that's why it's being returned. After this, we have put the check on pass ID. So if I move back over here, pass ID is unique for everyone. So let me just copy this one and let me paste it over here. Here you can see this, only one specific record is being returned corresponding to that pass ID. So here you can see this, everything is working fine. If I delete it, here you can see this, now the data is gone. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. Hope you like this video. So please give it a like, share and subscribe to the channel, and please follow us on Instagram. Thanks for watching.